squash his beef with Yo like he did. Would you be willing to squash some beef with somebody who had sex with your wife? You know, maybe while you was in prison, I don't know when it was or whatever.
It looks like the tension between Yo Gotti and Gucci Mane is heating up again after Pooh Shiesty came home. And now things are getting wild. Gotti's own camp, the very people who helped him rise to the top, are being accused of moving in a sneaky way behind the success of the CMG empire. Rumor has it, Gotti might have been plotting on Pooh Shiesty while he was still locked up, and everyone knows that could bring back the kind of drama that nearly ended both their careers before. The truth behind how a simple record deal turned into a full-on industry storm is deeper and more strategic than anyone could have guessed, and we're about to get into all of it. Now, before we dive in, let's keep it real. Social media has been blowing up with talk about Pooh Shiesty wanting to part ways with 1017, while Yo Gotti keeps posting like Shiesty's already down with CMG. When Pooh Shiesty finally got released, the whole rap game had shifted. He was ready to chase the bag again, but wasn't expecting his own label boss to start acting strange about the money. But don't get it twisted, this ain't just some regular business disagreement. This is about loyalty, respect, and two heavyweights who already had serious history. But here's where things really start to spark. When your biggest artist tries to link up with your biggest rival, that's when business turns personal. Let's rewind for a second to when Gucci Mane and Yo Gotti were actually tight.
Squash his beef with Yo like he did everybody else. I think it's more so about the girl, his wife, and no disrespect to her, but would you be willing to squash some beef with somebody who had sex with your wife? You know, maybe while you was in prison, I don't know when it was or whatever.
Oh, Lord.
It's supposed to be your friend.
We're talking early 2010s, back when the two of them were running the South together, side by side like nothing could come between them. Both of these guys came straight from the bottom. Gucci Mane out of Zone 6 in Atlanta and Yo Gotti from North Memphis. Real recognized real, and that's exactly what made their bond so solid. This wasn't some fake industry friendship for clout or cameras. It was genuine respect between two men who had both fought their way up through real struggle. Gucci was already crowned the trap king, but he saw that same fire in Gotti, that hunger, that drive, that fearless mindset to make it out and build something great. For people who weren't tuned in during that time, collaborations like theirs weren't as common as they are now. When Gucci and Gotti dropped their joint mixtapes, it felt like witnessing two powerhouses at their peak, iron sharpening iron, both feeding off each other's energy and creativity. Every track hit hard, every hook stuck in your head, and the streets couldn't get enough of it. But here's where things start to shift from brotherhood to business tension. October 17, 2012. That date meant everything to Gucci Mane because it represented his brand, 1017. He had been hyping up his Trap Guide mix-tent for months, pulling up to interviews, flooding social media, and making sure the entire rap scene knew the drop date was locked in.
Handcuffed and taken to jail as after a judge revoked part of Radrick Davis's probation. Prosecutors complained that the rapper had only completed 25 hours of the 600 hours of community service he was ordered to perform.
Good afternoon, Fred. The judge said, judging by his record, Radrick Davis, otherwise known as Gucci Mane, is not a worthy candidate for probation. So the judge decided to end a portion of his probation and send him to jail.
Now, anyone who knows the industry understands how important timing is. The day you drop a project can make or break your numbers, especially back then when mixtapes were still moving major units and building real buzz. Gucci had that date circled, planned, and protected. His team knew this wasn't just another release. It was his moment to stamp 1017 as a dominant name in the game. Everything was already lined up. The marketing money was spent, the features were confirmed, and the distribution was ready to go. All signs pointed to October 17th being Gucci Mane's big day. But here's the shocking twist. Yo Gotti announced he was dropping CM7, The World Is Yours, on that exact same date. Now, Gotti claimed he didn't know, but let's be real, that timing sounds a little too suspicious. These two were close. They were making music side by side, and Gucci had been promoting that drop date for months. So how could Gotti not know his own friend's major release was happening the same day? According to Gotti, when he found out about the mix-up, he actually thought it was a good thing. He believed it would be a huge moment, both of them dropping projects together and taking over the internet. In Gotti's mind, it was a celebration, a moment to show unity and power across the South. But here's the thing, he was thinking like a fan, not a businessman. Let's break it down for the people who don't see how deep this goes. When two artists with overlapping audiences drop on the same day, they end up competing for the same spotlight, the same streams, the same social media attention, even the same playlists. It's like opening two restaurants on the same street. Both might get customers, but neither will really dominate the block like they could have alone. And in this game, that spotlight matters. A release date isn't just a number on the calendar, it's your moment. It's the time to control the conversation, trend everywhere, and stamp your place in the culture. Instead of all the blogs focusing on Gucci Mane's project, now the spotlight was split between two releases, his and Yo Gotti's. That kind of overlap changes everything. And when you look at the emotional side of it, it hits even harder. Gucci had been hyping up October 17th for months as his personal day, a date tied to his brand, his movement, his story. So when someone else, even a friend, decided to drop on that same day, it felt like crossing a line that meant something real to him. So Gotti tried to reach out to clear the air, but Gucci wasn't trying to hear it. Gotti said he called Gucci right after he realized the mix-up, hoping they could handle it like brothers. But Gucci didn't pick up. He tried again, still no answer. Gotti even got in touch with people close to Gucci, asking them to have him return the call, but there was silence on the other end. And honestly, it's easy to see why Gucci was upset. It wasn't just about the date, it was about loyalty and timing. Because right before all this, Gotti had dropped that I Got Racks remix featuring T.I. and Jeezy, and everyone knew Gucci and Jeezy weren't exactly cool at that point. So that move made everything look even more personal. Eventually, Gucci did respond, but not through a call. He went straight to Twitter with a message that said it all without saying too much. Why would another artist put their mixtape out on 10/17 if they ain't Brick Squad? You ain't me, Trap God. That tweet hit hard. It was Gucci's way of letting it be known he felt disrespected without dropping any names. According to Gotti, they eventually talked it out on the phone, and things seemed cool again. But even with Yo Gotti moving his release date, the damage was already done. The tension between him and Gucci Mane started spreading fast, and before long, the internet was flooded with rumors. Fans were choosing sides, blogs were stirring the pot, and everyone wanted to know, were these two Southern powerhouses officially beefing again?
Behind the scenes, the vibe was off. What used to be mutual respect started turning into quiet competition. Gucci felt like Gotti had crossed the line, and Gotti couldn't understand why things got so cold so quick. It wasn't about one mixtape anymore, it was about trust. The same energy that once brought them together was now pulling them apart. Then interviews started adding fuel to the fire. Gucci didn't hold back when he was asked about certain artists he no longer messed with, and fans instantly connected the dots. Gotti, on the other hand, tried to keep it business, saying he had no issue with anyone and was focused on success. But the silence between them said it all. Everyone in the game could feel the shift. What made it worse was how their camps reacted. People close to both sides started throwing little jabs online, posting subliminals and making the situation bigger than it had to be. Every post, every lyric, every public move was being watched and analyzed. It was like the whole industry was waiting for one of them to say the wrong thing. From brothers in arms to distant rivals, the bond that once looked unbreakable was now hanging by a thread. And even though neither of them said it outright, everyone could tell there was tension in the air. What started as a misunderstanding over a release date had turned into something much bigger, something personal. But during that phone call, Gucci Mane wasn't even stressing the release date anymore. He was upset about Yo Gotti's collab with Jeezy and T.I. When Gucci later spoke on the radio, he made his feelings clear, saying, "My main problem with him is that he dropped his mixtape on 10/17 and tried to ride my wave. Why would you drop it if you ain't 10/17? You could hear the frustration in his voice. Gucci felt like his friend was trying to capitalize on his moment, and that hit deep. Then things really took a turn when Gucci released Birds of a Feather and says straight up, "I used to mess with Gotti until he turned into a buster." That line shook the whole scene. Imagine your former friend calling you out like that for the world to hear. That's not something you just brush off. Gotti was definitely hurt by the diss, but at first he tried to stay calm and not make things worse. Still, after a while, he decided he couldn't just stay quiet forever. That's when he dropped Have Mercy, and with that, the friendship was officially done. The track wasn't overly harsh, but it made one thing clear: Gotti wasn't about to let anyone disrespect him without speaking up. But then came the part that really had everyone talking. During the Breakfast Club interview, Gotti mentioned that he had spent time with Keisha Kayor, who later became Gucci's wife, back when Gucci was dealing with legal troubles. Gotti talked about it like it was nothing serious, saying, "You know how the game go. I didn't know he was in love and all that." That comment changed everything. Fans couldn't believe he said it so casually, and that moment added a whole new layer to their already rocky history. Let's break down exactly how this whole situation unfolded. Gucci Mane was sent back to jail after violating his probation. He had only completed part of his required community service hours, so the judge decided to revoke his probation and gave him a 1-year sentence. While Gucci was behind bars, unable to defend his relationship or really talk with Keisha Kayor, that's when Yo Gotti made his move. According to Gotti, he didn't realize Gucci was serious about Keisha like that. He claimed it was casual and that it just happened, trying to make it sound like a regular situation. But to most people, that move came across as straight up disloyal. Even if you didn't know your friend's situation, there are just some lines you don't cross, and that one definitely looked bad. The part that made fans even more upset was how Gotti talked about it later during interviews. He was laughing about it, acting like it wasn't a big deal, but the way he told the story made it sound like he didn't care about how deep that situation really was. It left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, especially those who had seen Gucci and Gotti come up together. Then, in 2013, things got even heavier for Gucci Mane when he was arrested again, facing serious legal trouble related to weapon possession. With his record, that case could have ended his career for good. But crazy enough, that time behind bars actually turned out to be a turning point for him. When Gucci came home in 2016, he was a whole new man, focused, sharp, and finally at peace. He had transformed completely, clean, healthy, and ready to move differently. He dropped weight, cleared his mind, and started making power moves with his label. The old Gucci Mane would have been all over social media, dropping wild posts, calling people out, and sparking new drama every week. But the new Gucci, he was focused, disciplined, and all about business. Instead of stirring things up online, he was in the studio making better music, signing stronger artists, and building a real legacy. Not just talking about it, but living it. Fast forward to 2020, and that's when Gucci made one of his biggest moves, signing a rising talent from Memphis named Pooh Shiesty. This young artist came with that raw, authentic energy that reminded everyone of the classic Gucci, but with a fresh sound that spoke directly to the new generation. He had the street credibility, the hunger, and that unstoppable drive to make something of himself. Everything that fits perfectly under the 1017 banner. Pooh Shiesty's come-up story mirrored Gucci's in a lot of ways. Both came from tough environments, both had to grind to make it out, and both turned that pressure into power. But just as his career was taking off, Pooh Shiesty ran into serious legal trouble. In October 2021, he was arrested on a federal case involving firearms conspiracy charges and was later sentenced to 5 years. For most artists, something like that would completely stop their momentum. But Gucci never stopped showing love and support. He made it known how much he missed Pooh Shiesty, how proud he was, and how 1017 would stay loyal until he came home. Gucci even went as far as cleaning house at his label, dropping almost everyone else and keeping only Pooh Shiesty and Fujiano, the two he believed truly represented the brand. By the time Pooh Shiesty was getting ready to come home, the entire music scene had changed. Streaming was at an all-time high, major labels were handing out huge contracts, and the value of a hot artist had skyrocketed. When Pooh came back, he realized just how much his stock had grown. And that's exactly when Yo Gotti stepped back into the picture. CMG had been on a serious winning streak, signing new talent left and right, locking in the hottest names and giving artists the kind of deals that made headlines. Gotti started posting Pooh Shiesty on his social media, showing love and hyping him up. And this wasn't just casual support. These were high-profile posts, the kind that pull in millions of views and get the whole industry talking.
Then came the move that had everyone watching. Gotti sent his top female artist, Glorilla, to link up with Pooh for a collaboration. The timing of that connection didn't seem random at all. According to people close to the situation, Gotti knew Pooh's 1017 contract was coming up for renewal, and he saw an opportunity. He wanted CMG to look like the stronger, more rewarding home for Pooh Shiesty to build his next chapter. And here's where it got tense. When it came time to renegotiate Pooh's deal with 1017, reports say the numbers Gucci's team was offering were way below what Pooh was truly worth. We're talking about deals that didn't reflect his streaming success, his cultural influence, or his potential to bring in serious revenue. Industry insiders even called the offers disrespectful, saying they look more like starter deals for new artists, not for someone who would help keep the label hot while he was away. To some, it looked like Gucci was counting on Pooh's loyalty instead of rewarding his growth. But for a rising star who had paid his dues and built a real name, that wasn't gonna fly. And that's when things started getting really complicated between them. Now, Gucci Mane isn't the type to jump on social media and start airing out his business. That's just not his style anymore. The old Gucci might have gone off online, but the new Gucci handles everything behind closed doors like a boss. Still, according to people close to the situation, he's not too happy about Yo Gotti allegedly trying to recruit his biggest artist. And honestly, who would be? Imagine investing your time, money, and energy into building an artist from the ground up, helping them get their first hit, putting your name behind them, and then your longtime rival steps in trying to take credit once that artist blows up. That's a hard pill to swallow. From Gucci's point of view, this whole thing feels like deja vu all over again. First, it was Gotti dropping his mixtape on October 17th, the day tied to Gucci's brand. Now, years later, it looks like Gotti's trying to pull his biggest artist away. But the difference now is the power balance has shifted. Back in the day, both of them were on similar levels, fighting for their spot in the South. These days, Gotti's got a much larger platform, major label backing, and a roster full of top charting talent under CMG. Meanwhile, 1017 has been struggling to stay as visible outside of Pooh Shiesty's name, especially while he's been away. That makes this whole situation even trickier, because at the end of the day, this isn't just about business, it's about loyalty, pride, and history. And that leaves one big question. What's Pooh Shiesty really thinking through all this? On one hand, he's got loyalty to 1017, the label that believed in him when nobody else did, the team that helped him rise from local buzz to national fame. But on the other hand, there's CMG, a label with momentum, money, and massive reach. That kind of loyalty used to mean everything in the game. But this whole situation really shows how much things have changed. Back in the day, if you had issues with someone, you kept your distance from their circle. That was an unspoken rule. Nowadays, it's all about business plays and opportunities, and sometimes loyalty gets pushed aside when the money starts talking. Still, no matter how the game evolves, one thing never changes: respect. And if Pooh Shiesty decides to move from 1017 to CMG, that's gonna send shockwaves through the industry. It would show that loyalty has limits and that artists are starting to prioritize being valued and respected over staying tied to a name. That kind of move could inspire other artists to stand up for themselves, to demand better contracts, better treatment, and real recognition for what they bring to the table. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about switching labels, it's about taking control of your future in an industry that doesn't always play fair. If you want more content breaking down the real business side of hip-hop, the label drama, the artist deals, and the power moves shaping the culture, make sure to check out our other videos. We're diving deep into the untold stories the mainstream won't tell you. And before you dip out, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments what you think. Should Pooh Shiesty stay loyal to 1017 or make the jump to CMG for a fresh start? Hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next, because this story is far from over.